The Saints Row developer, better known as Volition, is shutting down after 30 years. I can't say that I'm surprised given the reception of the last Saints Row and how poorly it did. Because yeah, that game wasn't very good. It's a shame though that they're not getting, you know, I mean, realistically speaking, if you think about it, the Saints Row has been kind of like on a state of decline for a while. They had Agents of Mayhem, and well, Agents of Mayhem didn't do too great either. And then there was the new Saints Row, which didn't do great either. So it's kind of like, you know, commercial fail after commercial fail. And I guess they just, you know, the publisher didn't have any faith in them anymore. A single dollar, how much money to spend on AAA titles these days? Yeah, that's true. That's true, JD. The problem with like AAA titles nowadays is that either like the games have become increasingly more and more expensive. So like if a game fails, it's not a failure of like $10 million. It's a failure of probably nowadays at least 100 million. Like, I think the mistake where Saints Row went is that it tried to appeal to both audiences, but failed to appeal to both old and new Saints Row fans. And inevitably... Candice, cunt, shut up, I'm trying to talk. Inevitably, what ended up happening is that after Saints Row 3, I suppose, there was like a new breed of Saints Row fans who, I guess... is where they started being catered to, but then they tried harder and harder to cater towards that fan base, which wasn't like all about like, oh, I'm Saints Row 2 and that sort of stuff. And I guess in that turn, they lost both audiences. And yeah, then when you get the hammer and the nail of getting bad reviews and just like, you know, a heap of other issues, the studio at some point is just like, we don't have any faith anymore. What's wrong with chat? YouTube chat is just a bit slow. It's not as instant. But yeah, I guess time will tell what's gonna happen with those folks. Hopefully those folks will find a new find a new home though, because obviously, you know, there is talent in those studios. That goes without saying. It's just that sometimes the talent doesn't get used to its full potential, and instead it just gets you know, misguided, if you will, because most of those choices are being made not by the people who are, you know, I guess making the actual game, but instead are those folks who are like calling the shots. You know, maybe some of them wind up at Rockstar, who knows?